Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria and I put a poll on Instagram the other day and I wanted to see what you guys wanted to see, and you chose MEDHOLD, so I'm going to be talking about Air Force MEDHOLD. I'm going to be discussing my experience and just pretty much like the day I got there and my experience through it and what exactly is it and all things MEDHOLD. So I really hope that you're able to get some good advice from this, and if you have any other questions that I didn't cover or you're just curious, just leave them down below and I'll be sure to reply or make another video regarding them. I really want this to be informative because I know that I wasn't too familiar with MEDHOLD because I didn't want to be familiar, but it's good to be familiar because they're not trying to keep you there. I don't know, I'll explain it in the video, but I really hope that you enjoy it, and I'm glad that I'm able to actually sit down and talk about it because I know it's been a while. So yep, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so where do I want to start? So I got to MEDHOLD on March 5th. I was about a week and a half, 2 weeks from graduating BMT, so I pretty much just had Beast left to complete before I graduated, and they decided to send me home. They told me that on March 5th, and I was sent to MEDHOLD on that same day. I went back to my squadron and I packed all my stuff up, and I was bound a long march over to where MEDHOLD is, and that is the 737th Training Squadron, I believe. They are considered the Raptors, which is a dinosaur, which is the stupidest thing ever, but that's beside the point. I'm actually wearing my squadron shirt right now. We were the Gators. I was the 320th Training Squadron, and I'm really happy that I was because I really loved it there, and I feel like we had it pretty good. But I mean, honestly, all of the training squadrons are great, and I mean, you know, you get the, I wouldn't say the same experience, but I mean, you turn into an airman regardless of the training squadron you're in. But yeah, so when I got to MEDHOLD, this is my perspective of, like, this is my experience of going to the old buildings, which is considered Alcatraz. So pretty much the day before I left, which I'm going to get into it, we were moved to the 331st, I think, because of Corona. So this is all of my experience back whenever we were like MEDHOLD, because I'm not sure where MEDHOLD is now, but this is my experience with it being in Alcatraz, and I know that they're tearing those buildings down, so I'm not really sure nowadays, but this is just my experience from that perspective. So whenever I went to MEDHOLD, we walked around the building. We had no clue where the heck to go, and then I don't even know what I don't remember what they called it. They called the room where your phones, oh, the TIC, that's what it was called. I think it was an abbreviation for something, but it was called the TIC, and that's where your phones, and that's where you made your phone calls, because we had, like, I think 20 minutes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I think we had 20-minute phone calls, and they changed that whenever they switched over to the other squadron, but it was all of a mess. But we had, we did get more phone calls than, you know, you do back in a flight line, which is, you know, your actual, you know, training for graduating to be an airman. But so I went there, I filled out a lot of paperwork, and I didn't realize at the time that it was other MEDHOLDers who were, like, presenting the paperwork to me, so I was super awkward, and, like, I was crying, and I was just like, I don't freaking want to be here because I don't deserve to be here, because I did not deserve what happened to happen, but that's beside the point. So I filled out all that paperwork, and then they send me up to my dorm, and I'm super reluctant. I don't want to go to this stupid dorm. I don't want to have to set all my stuff back up. I was really not having it, as a lot of people who go to MEDHOLD, they feel the same way. So I go up to my dorm. I met a really nice girl. I think, was it Bugatti? I think it was her. I ran into her. She was the EC at the time, and she was really nice to me, trying to talk to me, trying to make me feel comforted. And it was actually really funny because she was the one that presented the cry hole to me, so that was funny. But yeah, it was definitely an experience getting all settled back in, because I had just been comfortable, you know, getting into my BMT routine, and then all of a sudden when I'm fixing to be done, I had to basically start all over, because MEDHOLD is totally different compared to line flight, and that's what I learned as I was in there for a few weeks. So pretty much MEDHOLD is just, it involves people with, like, BAS cases, which that was mine, behavioral analysis, I think that's what it stood for, and then the people who got hurt in basic, they're there, and then there's a lot of people who were there, you know, for different reasons, but those two were like the main ones. You get hurt or it's BAS cases. I think, I can't, or you know, you're sick, I think. I think if you're like I don't know, if you're sick, I think you go there too. It just depends on it. They're very selective and it's weird and it doesn't make sense. There was probably like 8. I really can't recall how many people were in there, but I think that there was maybe like 8 girls or 10 girls or something. And for the longest time I was super like closed off. I would help out the most I could, but I was super like reluctant. I didn't want to be there, obviously. But overall, pretty much what you do in MEDHOLD, you're not allowed to do PT. Still did it anyways because can't take that right away from me, but I get worked up about this topic. So and then that's when I got told that I shouldn't have been in MEDHOLD because all my scores were great and my PT was amazing. But again, besides the point. So yeah, I did, while I was in MEDHOLD, I did do PT. I wasn't supposed to, but I needed it. I was literally going insane there. I was perfectly fine in BMT getting screamed at, but when you go to MEDHOLD, it's a totally different world. They don't scream at you because of PTSD, anxiety, blah, 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 blah. I'm not disregarding those things, but it's just like what, like, you can still be hard on people. Like, I didn't understand that. I mean, it was nice, but just, I was so used to line flight like a lot of people that you're just like, why are they not screaming? Why are they not yelling? Why are they being nice? What? So it was just confusing to me. And then everything was just getting worse because I started to get depressed. I was down, which obviously you are because, you know, you're surrounded by people who they are getting sent home because they broke their leg or all these things, or they've been there for months on end, and you're just like over here like, what, like, okay, my situation's not as bad, but you know, you're still just, it's a lot of mixed emotions, and you get depressed, and it's not a good place to be in. And I'm not a fan of MEDHOLD. No one's a fan of MEDHOLD, but just an advice on how you can not get sent there is, one, don't hurt yourself. Don't say you hurt yourself. And I'm not saying don't say you didn't hurt yourself, but don't wear the shoes they issue you, because that's one easy ticket to go to MEDHOLD, because those shoes are crap. But the other thing is like my MTI, the thing that I love that my MTI said was, you know your limit, you know your pain, all that stuff. So you're aware of all that. You know your limit. Don't over push yourself, but like, you know if you're hurt, you know if it's just soreness, which you're gonna get sore in BMT. I got really sore in BMT, but I was never to the point where I needed help or I was at risk of hurting myself. You just have to really know your limit, and you have to know like when's enough is enough, and when you know you should go seek medical attention, and you have to know that there's a difference between medical attention and soreness. And I hope that that makes sense, but you know, you really want to prevent going to MEDHOLD because it sucks. It obviously makes you go back, and it depends on what flight you will fall back into. You might go back 2 weeks, 1 week, 4 weeks, like you don't know. So it's just it's really tough. When you go to MEDHOLD, you have the opportunity to fight your case. I regret not fighting my case, but that's beside the point. I can't do anything about it now, so I'm not going to sit there and be sad about it. But I know I should have fought my case, but you have the ability to do that. So pretty much you meet with your caseworker. So the next day when I woke up, I went and I met with my caseworker, and she's pretty much just the person, he or her, they will pretty much just meet with you briefly. Like, it's not anything like long or anything. They're just the people who are sending your stuff over to get it through the process to get your LON, which is when you sign that, you should be going home pretty soon. But yeah, I should have consulted with them, because you can consult with them if they think it's worth fighting or not, which it's one of those things where I should have regardless, even if they said no, because I feel like I should have. I honestly, now that I think about it, now that it's been a few months, it's one of those things where I feel like you will regret it if you don't fight it, depending on your situation. My situation was something that I totally could have fought, and I regret it. I feel like I am in the spot I'm supposed to be at now, but it's still one of those things that I feel like you're gonna regret it if you don't. MEDHOLD sucks and it's not a fun place to be at, but, and even basic, obviously it's not fun, it's not a good place to be at, but the experience, the people, like there's so many pros to what, you know, I got from basic to, I can't even explain it, but I think that it's worth fighting. So just if you go to MEDHOLD and you know you're at risk of being sent home or whatever, fight your case. It's better to try than not to try. I was very upset because I was like, well, what if I sit here and stay for 4 more weeks? And because this was right right on the line of, oh, COVID's getting awful, and that's when I first realized, oh crap, this is like a big deal. And so I started worrying about my family and friends back home, and so that was kind of hard given the situation I was in, because I was, you know, I knew when I went, I knew if some guy ate a bat or something about corona. That's all I knew. I didn't know, you know, being actually in basic, like I didn't know all this stuff until it actually got super bad when I went to MEDHOLD and they started, you know, taking things away, and we were having to, like, it was a mess. And so I kind of had the motivation of, oh, well, I want to get home to make sure everyone's okay, and I didn't really think about the bigger picture. So the next thing that I want to touch on is make friends in MEDHOLD if you do end up going. I made the best friends there. Marsh, Franklin, Craddock. Oh my gosh, I could list like all my freaking people. Sousa, Murphy, like everyone that was in MEDHOLD with me. If you ever watch this video, I love you to death. Y'all got me through, 1, you got me through MEDHOLD, and 2, you made me realize that I was, 1, worth something and I had something to offer. Okay, well, I was gonna find the shirt that I had them all sign, but I had all of them sign my PT shirt, and it really, I saw it the other day and it really made me smile. But I'm just telling you that, 1, the friends you make, regardless of if they're in your flight or in MEDHOLD, they're going to be, 1, lifelong friends, and they're going to be really huge supporters. And like, I still talk to most of them a lot, pretty frequently, and I'm really thankful for them, because there was a lot of stuff that I went through in MEDHOLD that, 1, I wish I didn't, and 2, I made really bad decisions, and I wish that, I kind of went off in a tangent, but that leads me into my next point of, I made a lot of bad decisions and irrational ones, but they were still there to support me and love me, and they knew that I was hurting, and they knew that they knew how badly that it hurt me with what happened with how the Air Force did me wrong, and it really hurts me too, because they were obviously done wrong too, and it sucks when you can't do it. Like, it's like you can't do anything about it, and it's just, I don't know, there was a lot of things that went wrong, and MEDHOLD was just, it was really hard. So pretty much MEDHOLD, it's really, I don't know, like, they don't scream at you. The DFAC is not the same. It's like totally, it's weird. They don't scream at you, they don't, like, I mean, there's chow runners and stuff, but they're not like as scary, yelling at you and everything. Like, I did it one time and I was fine. But then that leads me into basically my last point. I think I've kind of, I don't even know if I've really talked much about what MEDHOLD is, but the last thing that I want to make is whenever I went home, so I can't remember the process. Like, I got my LON, and then you get your precept after that. I think, you know, you sign it, then you wait, and then you get your precept, and then you usually go home the next day. So I think I signed mine. I think I signed mine on Thursday, and then, because I went home on a Tuesday, I think I got my precept on Monday. So I was really upset because I had to stay the weekend, but that's beside the point. I'm just glad that I got to go home, because I thought I wasn't because of Corona. So you sign your LON, and then they are doing the rest of the process, and then you're just kind of waiting for your precept. And then when you get your precept, you do a few things. Like, when you get your LON, you do a few things kind of like a checklist to get ready for your precept, and then you get your precept, and then you pretty much, you go home the next day. The day before I left on March 24th, so on the 23rd was a Monday, and it was really weird, like just the process, because there was a couple of us who were going, like, we got our precepts, and then, but we were moving to the 331st because of COVID, because they needed that new place they needed the place for quarantine, the where we were, the squad, where MEDHOLD has really always been, and we were all just like, okay, so we had to lug all our stuff over there and then basically lug it all back because we're going back over there to get all of our stuff, and it was a whole mess. But all we had to do really was stay in the 331st for one night, and then the next day we left. But it is what it is. But I guess that pretty much wraps up this video. I know I kind of went all over the place, and I don't really know when I edit this. I'm not even sure like if I'm gonna post it, but we'll find out. If it's up, then it's up. But I know that this wasn't super organized, but if you have any other questions or want me to make a separate video, like just Q&A questions, I'll do that. But yeah, I really hope that this was helpful. I kind of just wanted to sit and rant and talk because I haven't talked about this since I posted my, I think, BMT experience, which was like 3 or 4 months ago. So I just wanted to give you some more military content and Air Force content. So I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in my next video.